All right, Alex, Coach Brandon here. I've got you pulled up next to Felix, just because, I like to use Felix a lot. He's the type of guy. He's not quite as tall as you. He's almost 6'2", but you're a little bit bigger body than he is, but he does things right, and he's a good guy to really compare yourself to. And I kind of fast forwarded things to where your guys' heel is striking the ground, and I want you to notice the difference with your guys' arms. Your legs actually look pretty good. I almost think that you may be overstriding by a couple inches. Now, you can run this by your pitching coach, and for a long time, for many years, we taught that the farther you stride, the better. Well, we have proven through science that that is actually no longer the case. And that will be something to look at a little bit more in depth when I see you, or we kind of tackle these first few things that I want you to pay attention to. Because if you look at where, I don't mind the glove being up that high, okay, but we've got to try to match our arms, and we really do not want to see the throwing elbow above the humeral head, which is the top of your shoulder, okay? So if I follow well, that was a bad line. Your shoulders are working on this level right here, okay? Notice where your elbow is significantly higher than your back shoulder, and all this is going to cause is you start to rotate, and if your video isn't the best quality, and we can get some better video, but we can still see what's going on. As you get into the launch position here, there's a ton of drag. Your arm gets stuck behind your head, and now your elbow is above your hack. Okay, and this it's not really a big issue, except for the fact that it's just going to decrease your arm speed. So it is important that we try to get into a better launch position with your elbow so that there's not so much dragging going on. Okay, if you watch Felix over here, once that foot gets to a good foot strike position, his elbow is slightly below his back shoulder. This is going to allow him now, when he rotates, to bring the elbow through. If you notice, it's almost below his ear. And all the guys who throw with any sort of velocity are going to stay below that line. Okay, so if that line would be somewhere over here for you. And if we blow this up, we're talking about, that's a good 6, 7, 8 inches higher than I'd like to see it. Okay, now I'm going to back you up a little bit, because we're going to have to kind of address on how you're going to fix that. And if I take you back to your leg lift here, you've got some good things going on. You've started to elevate your hips and elevate your shoulders, and these are good things. You've got some pelvic load back here. The back knee is inside the back foot. Everything is pretty good here. One thing is, you don't let your hands really come down and separate. You just kind of separate from a high position here. And again, that's going to take your arms up into those really high loaded positions with your elbows. And again, you're just working against gravity there. I feel like that's going to work against you. And if you look at Felix, his hands are back down almost around his belt when he separates. We really want to gather energy, if we can, in this area and separate from here instead of separating up high here. That's because also it's going to keep you down in your legs. It's just more efficient. We want efficiency. That is the key to velocity. Okay. Now, as I run you through here, I want you to also notice when Felix gets his foot all the way down, we like to measure the elbow load and what it looks like. And when your foot gets all the way down, okay, your angle is actually okay, but because your elbow is so high, it's created an angle that isn't going to work in your best interest. It's really going to open up and fly your arm out and really slow things down. The other thing that is attributing to the arm speed issue is that your glove really blocks, you block yourself out with your glove. And right here, look at the difference when Felix gets to the launch position, where his glove is at versus where your glove is at. His glove is way sucked down in here underneath his armpit. And what happens is when we suck the glove in and the glove shoulder starts to come behind us, okay, that's what propels the arm forward. And when your glove side shoulder and your gloves kind of stop right in here, and you're kind of throwing against a wall there in regards to your shoulders. Now, your hips can do that, but not your shoulders. Your shoulders have really got to rotate at this position. This is after your hips have loaded and fired. And now we're really talking about the shoulder turn. And I see that's really where you're kind of working against yourself. So this might get a little confusing, but, we'll do a couple of these, and I'll find a couple different images to demonstrate what I'm talking about. But the last thing here is as you get into the actual launch position in your release point, your back foot really drags and your back knee collapses down and towards your front leg. And if you watch Felix, that's when his back foot's going to start to release and get into a good recoil position, and the front leg is going to firm up. And you keep a lot of flexion in that front leg, and again, this backside just drags, and that's really slowing things down. Your decel position here, you kind of stop about right there. That's as far as your throwing elbow will go. And if we look at Felix, it really gets all the way around him, and that we can see where his glove elbow is now behind him. That's just because he's accelerated with way more force than you have, and that's a whole different subject for a different day, but this is kind of a good start. And if you got any questions, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you on the phone and kind of, explain things a little bit better, when I'm talking to you versus you watching the video. But I think this is a good start. So hopefully this helps you out a little bit. Share it with whoever you want, and I'll be in touch.